Just outside here, they have a big sign that says restrooms, but we all miss it all the time. They're right here. They're at both ends, and you guys will be sitting in the first section of the grandstand as you head back to the grandstand. So, again, I just want to welcome you. I want you to have a great evening. Have a like
Greg Peterson, who gave us a lot of the background information we needed in order to understand what happened 70 years ago with the Jamestown Pirates. Greg is the preeminent baseball historian in Jamestown, and without his help, we couldn't have pulled this off. I just want to introduce a couple people from the 39 Pirates. I'd ask that Jim Matthews, the business manager of the 39 Pirates, stand up. Jim is a young 92. He tells me he remembers very specifically what happened here in Jamestown 70 years ago. It's remarkable to talk to him. If you get a chance, I really urge you to do so. You'll learn a lot about baseball history in our town. Also want to introduce Bob Olson, right down here. Bob and his friend Bud were the Bat Boys from that 39 team. 70 years ago, they were the Bat Boys. Is Arlene James here yet? I didn't see her come in. Okay. Arlene James is here tonight. She is the widow of Les James, one of the ball players from the 39 team. I assume she'll be here shortly. One more person I'd like to introduce is Jack Keeney. Jack is the mayor of Celoron. Celoron was the actual home of the Jamestown 39 Pirates. Jack Keeney.
Hopefully some of you over time got this book, Across the Seams, which is the history of professional baseball in Jamestown. Obviously we had to start someplace. And the first time the New York Penn League, which was formerly known as the Pony League, was 1939. And I just want to put into context, if I can, Jim Matthews and Bob Olson and Arlene James. The league started in December of 1938. A guy named Stuart McGuire, who was the Post-Journal, the predecessor to Frank Hyde. He's the guy that actually put up the couple of bucks to get into the league. They decided they would be the chartered member of the first year in 1939, and the team played in Celoron, New York. Jack's got a picture of the park, and it was, needless to say, had not seen a lot of action, and it was somewhat debilitated. Stuart McGuire started this group and put together the corporation. They were known as the Jamestown Jockeys, and they lasted all of about, 7 days? When in fact, then they reached out to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And it was through that relationship with the Pittsburgh Pirates, bought the local franchise, brought in the team, and that's what started, really, the active pursuit of professional baseball in Jamestown, New York. At that same time, they brought in Jim Matthews. Jim Matthews, age 22, really through St. Louis and through his brother's relationship. At some point, if you have cable television, you'll see an interview I did with Jim, which is utterly phenomenal because we stopped at his house last year, Jim, and sat down and went through the whole roster, and boom, 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 he had a story and a vignette about everybody and anything. But one of the things I think it's lost in the dustbin of history is in 1939, Jamestown, which was a Class D league, Class D, which probably as low as you could go, they managed to bring up the Pittsburgh Pirates to play an exhibition game in Celoron. This was incredible. When I start naming the names of the guys who were on the Pittsburgh Pirates in 1939 and who played in Celoron, the coach was Honus Wagner. The shortstop was Archie Vaughn. The outfielders were Paul Wainer and Lloyd Wainer and a guy named Chuck Klein. These were all baseball Hall of Famers. Throw in Pie Trainer. And you go to Cooperstown sometime, and if you see the section dealing with the people who were with the Pittsburgh Pirates, know that in 1939, our first year, Class D, and because of a guy like Jim Matthews, they were able to bring the major league team here and go through that. If you ever see Gordy Black, if you know Gordy, he was at the game, actually has a ball signed by the Pittsburgh Pirates of 1939. So quite extraordinary, quite a kickoff to year one of Jamestown baseball. You need to know that that was the last year of the Pony League in Celoron, New York, because the stadium left a little bit to be desired. The Pirates moved its franchise. In 1940, a guy named Harry Bisgeier decided he might come down to Jamestown if we built a new stadium. And that's when the City Fathers, there's a plaque out as you enter into the stadium which lists all those City Fathers. They decided to build this stadium right here, Municipal Stadium, in 1941. And as a result of that promise, Harry Bisgeier brought a team down from Niagara Falls and played in 1940 in Allen Park. The stadium, or the field, is still there. You go there, I'm sure all of you folks in the local area played at that park in Allen Park.
Thank you. I'm not going to follow Greg Peterson. That's impossible, please, for the history and the excitement of what we were all about tonight. But it's nice to have you all back here to take part of the event tonight. You know, you're in an area which is hallowed ground as we look at Municipal and College Stadium and the activities that have all taken place here. Many of you played and were involved in all of this that happened here. You were either a fan or the excitement of those, and as Greg is talking around to the major leagues. But that wouldn't be here. We would not be here tonight if it wasn't for those fellas and girls in 1939 that stepped forward to start this marvelous operation. So from 1939 until today, everybody in that history needs to say thank you to those folks from 1939, and I want to be one of them. Thank you.
Batteries yeah, there is.
Yep, Russ, you too. Jack, next to Ron. Jim, stand next to Jack. Arlene, stand next to Jim. Then Bob, and then Russ.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Diethrick Park on a very special, beautiful evening as we celebrate 70 years of professional baseball in the Jamestown community. I would like to talk about a few of the group of people that are special to the Chautauqua County Sports Hall of Fame. First, I'd like to introduce Ron Melquist, the president of the Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame.
Thank you very much, George. From Celoron Park to Allen Park to Russell Diethrick Stadium, 7 years of baseball is a long time. We're proud to be a part of this evening tonight. The Chautauqua Sports Hall of Fame has invited all the former inductees here. We realize some of them are deceased, but we're happy to have some of them represented by their families. I'd also like to thank one person responsible for this evening. He's worked really hard to put this thing together. And he's standing over there with a green shirt on, Randy Anderson. I'd like to thank him. We will recognize the inductees and team managers this evening. And thank you again for this evening, and I hope everybody enjoys it.
We're ceremoniously going to pass the ball first pitch. I'd like to introduce Max Jack Keeney. Jack's the mayor of the village of Celoron, the first home ballpark of the 39 Jamestown Pirates. A word from Jack Keeney.
Thank you. We want to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for inviting the Board of Trustees from Celoron and myself to be here to be part of what we started in Celoron 70 years ago. Baseball was directly related from the start in Celoron, starting back as early as 1894. With me right now, I have a picture of the field that the 39 team played on, and I'll present it to Mr. Bell with for the Hall of Fame. Thank you.
The next gentleman I'd like to introduce is Mr. Jim Matthews. Mr. Matthews was the 1939 Jamestown Pirates business manager. The gentleman that was directly related to the very first year of professional baseball in town. Let's give Jim Matthews a big hand. Next in line is Arlene James. And Mrs. James is the wife of Les James, who was a player for the 1939 Jamestown Pirates. Again, another resemblance of 70 years here in Jamestown. Let's give Mrs. Arlene James a big hand. Next in line is Mr. Bob Olson. Mr. Olson served as the 1939 bat boy for the Jamestown Pirates. So let's give Bob a big hand. He looks great. He's going to chase the foul ball tonight. Lastly, before he throws the first pitch, is Mr. Russ Diethrick. Many of us know him as Jamestown Mr. Baseball, and we are fortunate enough to be sitting in a stadium named after him. He's one of the great gentlemen of our community, and I would like to hand the mic over to Mr. Russ as he brings a word and then throws tonight's ceremonial first pitch, again recognizing 70 wonderful years of baseball in this community.
It's exciting to be part of all this history. Be here and to enjoy and to let your mind wander and reflect on all what professional baseball has been in this community. So you've met some of the Diethrick were here in 1939, you've met players, and you've been here at the stadium every night. But it's you people in the stands and you people who supported baseball since 1939. There's a reason we're standing here tonight. If you hadn't been supportive of the fellas in 1939 and all the years after that, why we wouldn't be here tonight. So thank you very, very much for your support and for your involvement in professional baseball in Jamestown, New York. How come you're so far away from me? Mr. Matthews, come on here. I have a sore arm. This is James Gallagher. He's got a sore arm. Mr. James. Bob Olson was a bad boy and a ball boy. He always had to run around the park and pick up the balls. They put me on the bench early when I was in high school, so he'll come closer if you want me to.
One at a time.
Don't knock him over. One at a time.